Angelina Jolie has always carried herself with a kind of feline grace, quiet, self-contained, deliberate. She laughs when asked if she thinks she's more like a cat or a dog. "I've been told I'm more like a cat," she says. "When I was in acting class, we studied cats because they only use the muscles they need. They always land on their feet. The comparison fits perfectly. For all the turbulence in her life, Jolie always finds her balance. Whether she is navigating fame, heartbreak, motherhood, or reinvention, she has learned the art of falling without breaking. But today, there is a calm around her that feels different, less like survival and more like peace. And that peace, she admits, has a lot to do with her children, especially her youngest son, Knox. Her youngest son, Knox, is learning to fly, following his mother's example. Jolie herself is a licensed pilot. "I can't cook or parallel park," she jokes, "but I can fly a plane." When asked if she worries about her son flying, her answer reflects a broader philosophy of life. "No," she says simply. "I worry more that people don't find what they love. That's more dangerous. To walk through life too carefully, never risking, never waking up with passion." For Jolie, risk is not something to be feared, but to be embraced. It is, in fact, the essence of living fully. Knox Jolie-Pitt is now 17 years old. Like his twin sister, Vivian, he is coming into his own, beginning to define who he is beyond the shadow of his famous parents. For Jolie, watching him grow has been more than witnessing her child's adolescence. It has been a reflection of her own evolution. "My son is flying now," she says, almost casually, before the meaning of the words sinks in. "I can fly a plane too. I have a Cirrus." There's a soft laugh in her voice, but underneath it lies something much deeper. Knox learning to fly is not just a youthful adventure. It is symbolic. For Jolie, flight has always represented freedom, courage, and self-trust, the very qualities she has tried to teach her children. When asked if she feels nervous knowing her son is in the air, she smiles. "No," she says. "I worry more when people don't find what they love. That's more dangerous. To walk too cautiously through life, that's scarier." She says it quietly but with conviction, as if speaking from a place of hard-won wisdom. Safety, she knows, can become its own kind of prison. Jolie's life, both public and private, has been defined by risk. The roles she chose, the causes she championed, the family she built. And now, through Knox, she sees that same daring spirit, curious, fearless, and unafraid to fail. "He has that willingness to explore," she says. "To try, to fall, to try again. I love that. The relationship between them is built on trust rather than control, and for Jolie, trust means everything. Motherhood has changed her in ways she never anticipated. "I follow my kids around like a dog," she jokes, but her eyes soften when she says it. Her home, once a space of restless creativity, is now filled with movement, laughter, and the noise of growing lives. Yet the hardest part of being a mother, she admits, is knowing when to let go. With Knox, that lesson has been especially vivid. Perhaps because he's her youngest son, or perhaps because his desire to fly mirrors the very independence she has always valued. Letting your child go into the world, even when it's what you've prepared them for, is never easy, she says. But it's necessary. You want them to have wings, not walls. She pauses before adding, "And sometimes they remind you that you still have wings, too." That reminder, of freedom, of selfhood, has been essential to Jolie in recent years. After a decade of relentless public attention, a painful divorce, and the strain of ongoing legal battles, she has retreated into a quieter rhythm of life. She spends more time directing, curating art, listening to opera, and being home with her children. "I'm in my private space a lot these days," she says. "But when I'm with someone, I'm really with them." It's a balance that took her years to master. Solitude without isolation, devotion without losing herself. In Knox's calm confidence, she sees the reflection of that same balance. Her 6 children, Maddox, Pax, Zahara, Shiloh, and the twins, Knox and Vivian, remain the center of her world. She doesn't describe them as extensions of herself, but as individuals with their own spirits. "They're all so different," she says. "I'm still learning from each of them." Knox, she adds, carries a quiet steadiness that feels familiar. He's observant, grounded, and drawn to things that move, mechanics, design, flight. "He's calm but focused," she says. "There's a steadiness to him that I really admire. Those traits, she believes, may be a mix of both parents. I think Knox got the best of both worlds," she says with a gentle smile. The artistic curiosity and the groundedness. He doesn't overthink. He just does. Through him, she sees how life has come full circle. Her children have witnessed her most vulnerable moments: loss, public scrutiny, personal transformation, and yet what she hopes they take from it is not the pain, but the strength born from it. It's not about being tough, she says. It's about being honest, staying open, even when life hurts. That philosophy also guides her work. Jolie portrays opera legend Maria Callas, a woman whose story resonates deeply with her own. Before taking the role, she admits she knew little about opera. "I'd been to performances but never really let it into my life," she says. "I thought it was something you had to be born into." That changed when she began listening to Callas's recordings and interviews. You realize everyone had an opinion of her, but very few people really knew her. Jolie speaks about Callas with quiet empathy. She had dogs, poodles, because she didn't have much love in her life, she says. She was misunderstood. When she missed performances because of illness, the criticism was brutal. She wasn't trying to be glamorous. She was just trying to survive. It's not hard to see why Jolie feels such a connection to her. Both women have lived under relentless judgment. Both struggled to protect their identities. Both turned pain into art. "I think Maria was always trying to hold it all together," she reflects, because she was taught she wasn't enough as she was. The empathy Jolie feels for Callas echoes her feelings toward herself and toward her children. "I like playing real people," she says, "but I can only do it if I love them, if I want the audience to feel for them too." Through Maria, Jolie revisits themes that have shaped her life: identity, misunderstanding, and the need for compassion. Through Knox, she is learning how those lessons continue to evolve. Her own entry into acting was never born of ambition. Her mother, Marceline Bertrand, once dreamed of being an actress but gave up the pursuit after divorce, left her raising 2 children alone. "I didn't really choose acting," Jolie says. "It made my mom happy." For years, her success felt like a shared dream, one she was living on her mother's behalf. "I always wanted to buy her a house," she recalls. "We were a team." But when her mother passed away in 2007, acting became harder. "I realized how much of it had been for her." Losing her mother forced Jolie to confront the question of what drives her. "I think for a long time I was performing, on screen and off, trying to make someone proud who wasn't here anymore," she says. "Now I do it because it makes me feel something real." It's authenticity she hopes her children inherit. Not fame, not perfection, but truth. "You don't have to be everything," she says. "You just have to be real." She smiles when the conversation turns to astrology. "I'm a Gemini," she laughs. "People think we're two-faced, but we probably have 20. There's humor in it, but also accuracy. Her life has been a study in contrasts: mother and icon, rebel and humanitarian, public figure and private soul. The mistake, she says, is thinking there's one real side and one not real side. We just have many sides. That philosophy has kept her grounded through chaos and change. It allows her to adapt, to move fluidly between worlds: the film set, the humanitarian field, and her home. Everyone's misunderstood, she adds. That's just part of being human. She hopes Knox understands that too. The world will project expectations onto him, but his only task is to find his center and hold it. For Jolie, that is what flight symbolizes: the ability to rise above noise and see the world clearly. "Flying gives you perspective," she says. "From up there, everything looks smaller and more beautiful." Her ability to find beauty amid uncertainty is something she has earned. "I can't cook or parallel park," she says with a grin, "but I can fly a plane." The line is lighthearted, but the message is deeper. Flight for her represents movement. Balance comes not from stillness, but from motion, from trusting yourself enough to take off, even when you don't know exactly where you'll land. That trust is something she now shares with Knox. Watching him take to the sky, she feels the same mixture of pride and humility that defines all parents when they realize their children are no longer just theirs. "He's teaching me as much as I've ever taught him," she says. His courage mirrors her own, reminding her that freedom is not something you grant, but something you live. In the end, the phrase she once learned in acting class, "cats always land on their feet," feels like the story of her life. She has fallen, risen, fallen again, and each time she has landed more gracefully. Watching Knox soar has reminded her that landing is not the end of motion, but part of it. Life's about movement, she says. You fall, you learn, you get up, you move forward. You fly and you land. And then you fly again.